Good morning. Welcome back to Bible and Blues. We are going to be doing Psalm 76, which you look at my background, and it's my background is not usually like this. And there's a couple of reasons behind it. We're going to talk for a little bit to see if we can generate a little bit of audience here with the live stream. But there's a couple of reasons for it. First off, I did pre-read this one, which is unusual for me, and kind of got the feel for it a little bit. And then and it has to do with things. If you look at the if you had a chance to look at the thumbnail that's involved in this one, uh, which I'll show you. Which I'll show you here. Here's the thumbnail, and just some music that does not go with the thumbnail, but I didn't bother changing it. Hang on. This is I thought this was a little more appropriate in the case because what we have going on is this is a psalm of Asaph. This is about God dealing with things. Okay. On top of that, we're in my family we're going through a little bit of a dark season right at the moment in my family at large, and not necessarily so much in my household, but it is in my household because it is very close to us. So prayers for that, please, because we are going through a little bit of we're going through a dark time right now, and that's part of the reason for the background you see back here is that's my mood. So then like I said, we're reading Psalm 76 today, and this is another psalm of Asaph, and Asaph. I brought it up because I kind of knew who Asaph was before, and he is attributed for quite a few of the psalms. There's psalms of David, there's psalms of Solomon, but psalms of Asaph. Asaph wasn't necessarily what you would call a prominent figure in the Bible in general, but he really was, if you dig into it, better than what I've done in the past. So, hey, quick question: Can you hear me well? If you can't hear me, or if my soundtrack's off, let me know. I'll try to do something about it. That's happened with me with live situations before. And the unfortunate aspect is when the sound goes off, I don't know when I'm doing this, but then I can't really keep it because I don't have a separate track for my audio. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and open one up here and get that kind of thing going. So, oh, come on, you can do it. All right. So anyway, so Asaph. So let's talk about who Asaph was. Oh, yeah, that's fine. So Asaph was we're doing this in stereo, and I'm only using one side of it. So Asaph was he was a Levite, and he was a prominent Levite singer and seer in David's court. Now, a seer was not necessarily a magical person. A seer was a person of higher learning, of importance, and things like that. So, of wisdom. And the son of Barakiah of the tribe of Levi. Okay. You pull up this information from First Corinthians and Second Corinthians. He's actually very prominently mentioned in there in several verses. He is the ancestor of the sons of Asaph, one of the great family guilds of temple musicians. Now, one of the things they talk about with the sons of Asaph is that it wasn't necessarily, the sons of Asaph weren't necessarily his descendants directly. There were people that learned from him, that learned his style, that initially they were his students, the ones that learned how he did things. Because yeah, I mean, you learn from a master, without a doubt. I'm working on learning how to do things like an actual vlog, or an action vlog of some kind, and I'm watching a lot of Casey Neistat, and I'm learning some of these other things. And there's some other things that I'm watching. There was one I was thinking about one thing, and then and somebody else has done it, and he's done it for a few years now. like 2 years now, called What's in It, where all they do is they just cut inside things, and it's a father and son, and they're a couple of good-looking guys, and they have a lot of personality and charm, and they have literally millions of subscribers now. So yeah, I'm not going to steal from them at this point in time. I might utilize their information a little bit, and they have definitely more personality than me. So we're going to see what happens with that concept. I'm still kind of working on it. I was thinking about something along the lines of build it in a day. I know I'm on a tangent here. So anyway, so you so Asaph, the sons of Asaph were not necessarily Asaph, Asaph's children. They were the people that they were descendants of people that that trained under him of how to do things, of how to write songs, and he was a master. And just as David was very much a singer and a musician as well as a leader, Asaph was he was how is he described as one of the guild of Asaph's descendants formed an important guild of temple singers in the reconstruction following the exile. Asaph is featured. His description as a seer also suggests a connection with cultic prophecy. So there's that. It is also an Asaphite, Uzi, who is established as the overseer of the Levites in Jerusalem during the temple's reconstruction. Now, I'm going to disagree a little bit, suggesting a connection of cultic prophecy, only because I'll have to research that, because they don't really, get into that very well. Because one of these you also have is you have an overseer. An overseer is a person who is I'm going to pull this up. Second Chronicles 29:30 is what they're referring to when they're talking about that. King Hezekiah and the officials commanded the Levites to sing praises to the Lord with the words of David and of the seer Asaph. They sang praises with gladness, and they bowed down and worshipped. I see nothing that has to do anything with with cult prophecy in there. So because you also have the description of an overseer, okay, which is a person who is in charge, not even up to middle management. Okay, they're just over the overseer of the slaves was always a bad person. It was never somebody you liked, right? At least never described as a person. I'm sure there were actually good ones, but they didn't make it in the book. So the importance of Asaph and his descendants in the cult again they say the cult, probably contributes to the preservation of the Psalms bearing their name. 12 Psalms, 50 and then 73 through 83, which were in the middle of 73 through 83, are introduced with the phrase Le Asaph in the subscription. And I haven't seen that yet myself, but I'm reading the New International Version, so that might have something to do with that. This phrase, most often translated in English of Asaph, can indicate authorship. That was Asaph himself. Oh, so you see, I am actually, because it's the New International Version, I'm actually reading of Asaph. Okay. That it was Asaph himself or one of his descendants who wrote these psalms. It can also indicate a group of psalms associated with Asaph and his family, or psalms that are sung in the style associated with Asaph's guild of musicians, for further yada yada yada. Okay, and this was contributed by, I pulled this out of BibleOdyssey.org. In post, I will put this link in the description for you. It's Bible Odyssey, Ask a Scholar, and this was contributed by Dr. Borden's Aubrey Buster, a PhD student at Emory University. Okay, she's not a doctor yet. Well, maybe she is by now. She's working on her doctorate. So definitely somebody much more educated than me. I can disagree with her if I want to, though. It's my choice. It's because I disagree with the concept of the cult of prophecy or things like that. Because I'll have to look more deeply into that concept. But that was Asaph. So because we're in the middle of Asaph, and I'm kind of wondering, well, who is Asaph? I kind of knew a little bit, but that gets a little deeper into it. So How do I sound? Do I sound good? Okay, so nobody's complaining about the sound yet, and I only have one person watching though, so we've been kind of going on for a little bit here. But so you have your coffee. Um, anyway, so without further ado, let's go ahead and dig into Psalm 76. Uh, for the director of music with stringed instruments, I think I've had to get all that instruction. A psalm of Asaph, a song. In Judah, God is known. His name is great in Israel. His tent is in Salem, his dwelling place in Zion. There he broke the flashing arrows, the shields and the swords, the weapons of war. You are resplendent with light, more majestic than mountains rich with game. Valiant men lie plundered. They sleep their last sleep. Not one of the warriors can lift his hands. At your rebuke, O God of Jacob, both horse and chariot lie still. You alone are to be feared. Who can stand before you when you are angry? From heaven you pronounced judgments, and the land feared and was quiet. When you, O God, rose up to judge, to save all the afflicted of the land, surely your wrath surely your wrath against men brings you praise, and the survivors of your wrath are restrained. Make vows to the Lord your God and fulfill them. Let all the neighboring lands bring gifts to the one to be feared. He breaks the spirit of rulers. He is feared by the kings of the earth. Here ends the reading of God. Thanks be to God. So, I mean, you hear that, and I certainly put my own spin on that as far as my tones and everything is concerned. And you can see why I have this background. So, and right here is where I put this in the thumbnail. Valiant men lie plundered. They sleep their last sleep. Not one of the warriors can lift his hands. Okay. And one of the things, this is actually, this is not about going to battle. And I kind of look for something like this. It was post battle. There was a battle, and God won. God has won the battle, and this is the aftermath. At your rebuke, O God of Jacob, both horse and chariot lie still. You alone are to be feared. Who can stand before you when you are angry? I mean, look at this background. Look at this. This is. I don't know. I found it on Google. I did look for free images. This is a piece of artwork that I found, but I added a little bit here and there to it, so tweak it. So, from heaven you pronounced judgment, and the land feared and was quiet. When you, O God, rose up to judge, to save all the afflicted in the land. So that's kind of what we're talking about here. This is the post-anger, post-battle time of it here. So I really hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, we're kind of going through a little bit of a dark time in our lives. It's actually a very serious dark time for us. So pray for my family. Pray that we come out of this stronger, and that we have the right attitude about these things. This is a very, very difficult time for us. So I really thank you for that. Beyond that, hey, this is not just about me. This is about God. This is about you. I really want to thank you for your time today. You have a good Saturday, and I'll be talking to you later.